The GOAT debate is a conversation that takes place in almost every genre of sports. From basketball to football to even Fortnite, people want to crown someone as the greatest player of all time. But to me, I feel like Fortnite might be one of the hardest games to give someone that title alone, at least as of right now. In today's video, I want to break down the facts on every single person that I believe deserves to be in the GOAT debate as of right now, and make one argument why I think they should be the GOAT and one argument why they are not. Simply just to show you guys how difficult it really is. And then at the very end, I'll give my own pick, as well as some of my thoughts on people I think could be in the future of this debate. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. We are less than 400 subs away from 72,000. So if you're gonna help me reach that goal, please just subscribe and turn on notifications. Use code KDOG on the Fortnite item shop if you guys want to support me even more. Without further ado though, let's get straight into today's video. All right, let's start off with someone that a lot of people say is the undisputed GOAT of at least EU, and that is Tayson. Now let's start off by looking at Tayson's resume, as it is one of the most impressive resumes in all of Fortnite. Tayson has 5 total FNCS wins in 3 separate game modes. He has 2 solo wins, 1 duo win, and 2 trio wins, as well as he also has 2 second places and 2 third places in grands also. The main argument for a lot of people on why Tayson should be the GOAT is simply because of the fact that he has won in 3 separate game modes on the hardest region, being EU of course, including he is one of the only people in the whole GOAT debate to have multiple solo FNCS wins. And then if we're just being honest, he won an FNCS with Mongrel, so all the Mongrel fanboys also just think he's the GOAT because he was able to win when like prime Mongrel was a thing. So Tayson definitely has a lot going for him in the GOAT debate, and a lot of people even has Tayson as their GOAT overall. Some of the things that go against Tayson in this debate though is he has little to no LAN success, especially compared to a lot of the other people in the discussion. Tayson has failed to make the most recent LAN, and he just really hasn't placed the best at any LANs he's really went to in general. So out of the 4 players I'm going to be going over in today's video, Tayson currently ranks 3 for me. After I go over everybody, make sure you guys let me know in the comment section down below who your top 4 is as well. Next up is Mr. World Cup himself, Bugha. Now if we look at Bugha's accomplishments, it is 3 total FNCS wins plus the most memorable tournament win in Fortnite history of the World Cup. He has 0 solo FNCS wins, 1 duo FNCS win, and then 2 trio FNCS wins, as well as 2 second places in grands and 2 third places in grands to go along with that. The thing for me that separates Bugha from almost any other player in the GOAT debate is he by far has the most longevity in the whole Fortnite competitive scene. Like he literally won the biggest Fortnite tournament ever in World Cup, which was 5 years ago at this point, and then is still competing at a top level today, even qualifying for the most recent LAN event that was literally less than a month ago. There is some pretty big arguments against Bugha being in the GOAT debate now, and a lot of people have also already taken Bugha out of their top 3. The main one is that the World Cup was over 5 years ago at this point, and he came out of the World Cup as like the unanimous best player in the world, and then he really struggled for like a year after that. And then a lot of people also say him only having 3 FNCS wins in the 5 years since he has won World Cup is just simply not as impressive as what the other people in the debate have done, as well as ever since World Cup ended, he really hasn't had any crazy good LAN placements either. He hasn't even came like top 5 in any LAN besides World Cup, I'm pretty sure. So for me right now, Bugha is another person that has recently slid out of my top 3, and he is currently in 4th for me. This next player has literally came out of nowhere recently and completely shifted into a lot of people's best player of all time after a single tournament, and that person is none other than PeterBot. Now PeterBot is currently in the middle of one of the greatest primes of all time. He has 4 total FNCS wins with a LAN win. The only real thing about PeterBot is he has 0 solo FNCS wins, 4 duo FNCS wins, and 0 trio FNCS wins. He has currently won 3 straight FNCSs with a LAN in the middle of that streak. And the other thing about PeterBot that I feel like is very different to any other player in this argument is something I like to call the eye test. Now the eye test is when you're watching a player and you can just tell they have that it factor and they just just look like by far the best player in the whole entire lobby. I think the only other time we really saw this was the single tournament that Bugha played at World Cup. He was clearly better than like every single other person there, and I feel like we have seen that with PeterBot. His is more than just one singular tournament. His has been over the last 3 FNCSs and at LAN as well. Like when you watch PeterBot, it literally looks like it's impossible for him to die. He always finds ways to make the most out of any situation that he is in. It's almost like he is playing a completely different game than anybody else. The only real arguments for going against him right now is that he has only won in one game mode so far, being duos, and he also just really hasn't been placing highly long enough for him to be the GOAT already. He only has 1 second place in grands and then 0 third places, so he doesn't even have like the craziest FNCS placements in general yet. I'm going to talk a lot more about PeterBot in a little bit, because a lot of people, when they're ranking PeterBot, they're ranking it based off a projection of what they think he's going to end up doing. But as of right now, I have PeterBot in my 2 spot. He is definitely the hardest person to rank on this whole list though, because it really is just based on what your current perception of him right now is and what you think he's going to become. The final player on this list, and the only other person that I think is really worthy of being on this list in the first place, is Miro. Now Miro is tied for the most FNCS wins ever with 6 total FNCS championships as well as 1 LAN win. And if you're a little bit confused when I'm talking about like as well as 1 LAN win, I'm including the LAN win as an FNCS win too. But Miro has 0 solo FNCS wins, 2 duo FNCS wins, and then 4 trio FNCS wins. So he statistically is the best trios player ever. So I mean, that's exciting for any Miro fans going into next year with trios. But he also has 2 second places and 1 third place to go with that. Now the thing with Miro that is so impressive to me is obviously he is tied with the most FNCS wins ever while being on NA East and Central, while the other 2 people are on NA West with Epic Whale. The other thing that has always been so impressive to me about Miro though is he was doing this all on controller. Now Fortnite, which has always been a heavy keyboard and mouse game, it's just kind of crazy to me that the greatest player in the game's history is a controller player. And especially in Miro's case, he wasn't like the best controller player when aim assist was super broken like Unknown Army and he was just L2 spamming and everything like that. Miro was genuinely just the best player in the game no matter what his input was. He is no doubt the greatest controller player of all time. I don't think anybody will ever come close to him in the controller debate only, but for him to be also known as the greatest Fortnite player of all time while playing on a controller, which I think we can all agree is worse than a keyboard and mouse, is another thing that has just always impressed me so much. The only real arguments that I see that go against Miro is that the LAN event that he won was only a 6-game format and they were extremely laggy lobbies, and that definitely is a fair argument, but there's so many counter arguments you can make to that, especially the fact that he was able to win a LAN event with Cooper, who was super underrated at the time. That was only like his 3rd grand finals lobby ever, and to me that is why as of right now in this very moment, Miro is still my current GOAT of Fortnite. If you guys paid attention, I did say as of right now in this very moment. Before I get into what I mean by that, let's go over some honorable mentions of players who I think deserve at least like a nod in the GOAT debate and who are definitely top 10 players of all time. We have to start off with Thomas HD, the 2nd place king himself. He literally has more second places than I can even count at this point, and if we're going to be talking about Thomas HD, you have to include Queasy into that list as well. Queasy is arguably the greatest IGL of all time, a 3-time FNCS winner, multiple second places, 2nd place at a LAN event. His accomplishments really do speak for themselves, and I think the final person that you can really put up there is Epic Whale, and that is mainly just because of the 6x FNCS wins. The only thing people really knock on Epic Whale is that they were all on West, so it is kind of debatable what those FNCS wins really mean to you. Let's get back to the part about PeterBot though, and a thing that I've seen so many pros agree with, and I agree with this as well, is a lot of people really do believe that PeterBot will finish his career as the unanimous greatest player of all time, just because of the pace that he is already on right now, him also being only 17 years old and clearly better than anybody else in the world. There is a world where he could be known as the greatest player of all time, like undisputedly, by the end of of 2025 even. But then there's also that debate, like if he plays with Bugha and Cole for all of trios and they win like let's say 2 of them, then that gives PeterBot 6 FNCS wins, but that would also give Bugha 5 FNCS wins. So does that propel Bugha up as well as PeterBot, or just one of them, or how does all of that go? And I mean, to the people that are asking that, I say let's just watch and let's see what happens first, because most of it is based on like performance wise alone. That is why a lot of people don't have like Pollo in their GOAT debate yet, because PeterBot is clearly a lot better. I think the bar for a lot of people on what they want PeterBot to do to become the greatest player of all time is to win 2 more FNCSs, to at least tie Miro and have the most FNCSs ever. And I think as soon as the day that he hits 6, and it could even be as soon as he hits 5, then a lot of people will be ready to call him the greatest player that Fortnite has ever seen, not only skill wise but accomplishments wise as well. I want to throw out some names of some people that I want you guys to just keep a lookout for in 2025. Not saying these guys are going to go into the GOAT debate or anything, but I think they're about to have real breakout years next year. The first person is Bolts. Now Bolts has been on like quote unquote underrated watch for a while, but I truly do think he is about to have an insane 2025 and really cement himself as one of the best players in the game. Next up is Koyota. Now Koyota is known as like the Asia PeterBot. He is only 16 years old, probably by far the best player on the entire Asia region. I don't know if he's ever really going to be able to like cement himself as one of the best players in the game while playing from Asia, but just expect a big year for him next year as well, and you could see him up there with some of the most FNCS wins ever also. Other than that though, that's pretty much all for today's video. If you guys did enjoy the video, remember, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Hitting 100,000 subscribers would be like winning FNCS to me. So if you want to help me to be able to win FNCS, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Use code KDog in the Fortnite item shop if you guys want to support me even more. YouTube said you'll enjoy one of these 2 videos up on the screen right now, so go check them out if you guys haven't already. Follow me on my Twitter at KDog to keep up to date with everything to do with Fortnite competitive. Thank God for another day, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out.